All right, everybody. As promised, pardon me, it is really hot. It's 8:13 at night, but it's still in the 90s here in Georgia. It's just really humid. That's why I'm sweating. Because I want to do this inside, and in my APU, I have to have that on. It's too hot not to have that on. As y'all can see, I'm sweating. Maybe I can cut those lights off because it's still daylight. It's 8:13. It's still a little daylight, and y'all still can see me. So I just wanted to give an update really on my thoughts on trucking, and just my thoughts period on the trucking, as far as from my aspect. I do know the definition of insanity is to continue to do the same thing expecting a different result. So I know that. I knew that coming in. I mean, I didn't know that fully coming in. I wasn't expecting to be a millionaire. I wasn't expecting to make six figures coming in, because I know it's a process, like with anything. When you working for someone, even when you work for yourself, unless you have like a good support group or whatever, you're gonna have to take some bumps, and it's a learning process. So I knew coming in I wasn't gonna be an instant millionaire, nothing like that. Coming in, I primarily went with Swift because out of convenience. It was literally Swift Terminal is 15 minutes from my house. Swift Terminal is 15 minutes from my house. Snyder, Warner, and US Express and Knight. They're like all right there by my home. It's convenient. I went with Swift because they just responded to me first. Honestly, they responded to me first, and I see them everywhere. They're everywhere. So my trucking career began with Swift. I went through to their trucking school. I have great respect for all the instructors at the trucking school. Really good guys and ladies at the trucking school. My only complaint about the trucking school is you should forewarn the student, complete this, you are restricted to an automatic truck. That wasn't fully explained when I went to the truck driving academy. What was explained was, oh yeah, our trucks are auto, this is the way the industry is going. That was it. So I'm really thinking now I do know how to drive a manual. Y'all know I ride motorcycles. So my mom taught me how to drive a manual. So I know how to drive a manual. The only difference in a semi truck, I won't even say that. Well, the difference is in a car, you're single clutch. In a semi truck, y'all don't get mad, the ones that do drive manuals, you're supposed to double clutch, or you can float them based off the RPMs. You just can float the gear. You can float it into the gear or whatever, based off of listening to your truck engine and RPMs and all that good stuff. I won't go into specifics because I'm not an expert on it, and I don't want people to complain. My point I'm trying to get across was they should have told us up front, license is going to say auto restricted. Remember that. That's going to be important later on once I get to it. I'm not writing this down. It's just all on top of my head. So I started with Swift. I started with their trucking school. Got through with that. I went through their Top Gun program. Got through with that. I enjoyed that. Got with my first trainer. He was regional. Young guy. He just had we had some different views on religion. He was very religious. There's nothing wrong with that. Just don't push it on people. He was regional. I was home weekly. It was cool, but the religion kept getting too much, and so that's how that went. Then I got with Miss Erica. Shout out to her. Everything was gravy. She was dedicated, local. I was home every day, and yeah, that's how Swift went. Swift because, like any person, like I said in the beginning, I knew I wasn't going to be a millionaire, And I know a lot of people with more experience than me are gonna disagree with what I'm about to say next. Any person that goes into any career field, especially this one, like I said, I know we're not gonna be millionaires, but don't pay us like peasants either. You can do I feel, and there's other people think like me too. Even though I'm coming in, or a person is coming in fresh out of school, if you do OTR, your minimum bring home after taxes should be $2,000, because you're giving up being at home with your family, friends, loved ones. They're not going to stop. Life is going to continue to go on. You're going to miss out on key things. So you're gone for a month or 2 months. The least they could do is pay you $2,000 after taxes, minimum. I know people are going to disagree with that. I know people are, old-fashioned, stuck in their ways. Hey, pay your dues. When I came in, I was making 10 cents. I was making 15 cents. When I was at Swift, I was making it was either 32 or 33 cents per mile. So in order to make a decent check, I would have to run at least 3,000 miles, and I wasn't getting it. And this was in 2023. I wasn't getting it. I'm taking on so much responsibility with this 80,000 pound death machine, and to bring home 300, 400. I think my biggest check was maybe in the 600s with Swift. And this was in 2023. Everybody's situation different. I was OTR, so I was down to go anywhere, but I primarily ran Texas to South Carolina and back. That was it. So I was like, I couldn't. That may be a lot for some people. I'm not trying to offend people, but it wasn't enough for my family making $600. I just couldn't do it. So that's why I left. I went to Snyder. Now Snyder, they lay everything out on the description of the job, what you're going to do, what's expected to you, yada yada yada. Snyder is a good company. They're strict. I don't mind that. I was raised in a strict household. Not to where I wasn't having fun. It just, my mom didn't play. She still don't play. She's soft with my daughter. She wasn't soft with me. She was preparing me for life. She was preparing me to be my daughter's father, her dad, and get me prepared for life. So I don't mind the strictness. That wasn't a bother to me. Well, the good thing about Snyder, like I said, Snyder was just like Swift. It was 15 minutes from my house. State-of-the-art facility. State-of-the-art. I could park my truck there, take showers there. They have, the cafeteria was always open. They have the store there off in Wilmer, Texas. It was perfect. You can wash your truck. Yeah, y'all saw when I was at Snyder. I was at home a lot. It was a built-in 34-hour reset. So I would get home either late on Saturdays, early Sunday, and then I would reset Sunday into Monday, and then I have a fresh clock starting Tuesday, and then I would go back out. I only went to the neighboring states. Yes, I did get bored doing it, but I like the consistency. Costco was always great to me. They allowed me to sleep there, so I never worried about, oh my God, I gotta shut down at X amount of time because the truck stop is gonna fill up at 12 noon or at 1. No, Costco said we can sleep there. Just make sure you don't abuse it by, being nasty and stuff like that. They had trash cans. Y'all saw, I was constantly walking around the Costco to keep myself in shape. They gave me a badge. I could shop at Costco's. I used to eat at their food court. That was great. The only thing is I just couldn't take a shower there. So on my way back to the depot, I would stop at a truck stop and take a shower. Yeah. So just being more hooked on social media and stuff, I start seeing more and more about Prime Inc. and how much money you could gross and bring home, because some people are content, but most people, you want to make more, and you want to be able to provide for your family, and that's what I thought I was going to do when I went to Prime Meat. So went to Prime Meat. I didn't think I was going to be a millionaire, but I didn't think I was going to be put in the poorhouse either. I say that to say I was at Prime for 4 months, I think 4.5 months. Out of 4.5 months, I only got 3 paychecks. Listen to that, out of 4.5 months, I only got 3 paychecks. And mind you, and you can ask my wife, I wasn't going home. The time that I came through, they mainly had new Freightliners. They didn't have nothing else. So it was at least a 2 to 3 year lease that you were doing. It was walk away, as y'all saw. I walked away from it. But when you get the newer truck, it's a higher weekly payment. I was paying more for my truck than a week than I pay for my house, that I only have to pay once a month, and that was insane. So outside of paying a mortgage for my truck weekly, I was paying for fuel. And the incident where I took the curve too sharp, I didn't swing out wide enough, and my truck got stuck. I didn't hit anybody. So a lot of people want to know, it doesn't look good when you job hop, but if you have legitimate reasons to job hop, people will give you a chance. Even when I made that turn, I didn't hit anybody. I didn't tear up any of the structural or property. I just was embarrassed, and then I was brave enough to post it on YouTube. So I never got charged with a preventable or non-preventable. I don't have any tickets, so that's how I'm able to maneuver like I maneuver. I'm giving notice. I'm quitting the company, but I'm not just like abandoning their truck and chuck and deuce. No, I'm telling them, hey, 2 weeks from now, I'm turning this truck into this terminal. I let them know. I call, leave voice messages, and I send an email or whatever, so I can have a paper trail to cover myself. And usually they're gonna be like, okay. And I go in, I get the truck clean. Every truck that I turned in, I go to the Blue Beacon, I get it clean, detail it the best of my abilities, and I turn it in to said terminal. Wherever I pick the truck up, that's where I turn it in at. So with Milton, what happened with Milton? So when I did Milton, I was about to be through with trucking. So I was contemplating. I'm like, well, I tried dry van, I tried reefer, let me try tanker. I could not get anybody to hire me. And you're asking why? Primarily because remember what I said earlier, remember about the auto restrictions? So there are places that will hire me as a tanker driver without a hazmat. Because you can move water, you can move milk. Unfortunately, the fleet that they have, you can't be auto restricted, and I'm auto restricted. So you're probably saying, oh, that's easy, just find somebody with a truck and with a manual truck and then go get it taken off. I don't know anybody. I don't. So that's why I haven't done that. So I did look for local, regional tanker positions in my area. The problem was I didn't have the driving experience that they wanted, and that I had an auto restriction on my CDL. So that's why I couldn't do that. So I've always, in my mind, I've seen flatbed and I've seen them work, and I'm like, man, they do a lot of work. That's a lot of work. And in my mind, I'm like, that's too much work to be doing. But I love it because I can't get to a gym. And a lot of these places, they like, oh, you can get a membership and you can park your truck here. They lying. The only one that I know that will let you park your truck and trailer there is Lifetime Fitness, and I personally don't have one in my area. When I was at Planet Fitness, they sold me on that, and I was a Black Card member, and they said, oh, you can park it, but most of these Planet Fitness you go to, they have big signs that say no they say no semi trucks. So yeah, so this works me out. So that's why I like it, and I like that I'm a part of the process. So when I was driving in reefer, the only process I was part of was you wait in a long line, and then you get assigned your dock door, you back up into that door, and you wait for that light to turn, or you wait for your lumper to come out, tell you how much he's gonna charge you to unload their freight, and then you just sitting there. With flatbed, it's not like that. So that's why I like it. You assisting the loader, the unloader. You assist them. I like that. You tell them how you want it. You have to secure it. You have to block and brace it from moving left, right, forward, back. And I like being a part of that. It makes me feel good. I like that. So I was running into the same thing with flatbed. So I struck out on tanker. I couldn't get anybody to give me a shot. And I even told, I think it was Borden, I was like, and they were nice people, but I'm like, how can I get experience if nobody would give it to me? How can I get the experience if nobody will give it to me? How can you? If nobody will open the door for you, how can you get the door open when it keeps getting slammed in your face? So I was like, okay, let me look in the flatbed. So I looked into TMC, because like Swift, I see TMC everywhere. And TMC wanted me to cut my hair. And I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna cut my hair. So I looked into Maverick. Maverick had a waiting list, so I couldn't do Maverick. So that led me to Milton. And in the beginning, Milton was good. I love the training I received. I loved all of the trainers over at the Tulsa terminal. Shout out to all of them. Shout out to everybody at Tulsa, with the exception of 3 people. I have no problem with any of them, and I enjoy working with them. And if they needed me to do anything, I would do it, with the exception of 3 people. And so one said person, my first driver manager, I'm not gonna say the name. So my first driver manager, she I honestly think she didn't like the fact that she asked me if I wanted to go over the road with a trainer. You have the option. I came in with experience. I came in with driving experience, not flatbed experience. So me, I got everything I needed out of securement training, because we had to do everything multiple times in the group. I was in the experience group, so everybody in that group had flatbed experience. So, and then they said I could record. So I'm like, hey, that's my thing anyway. I'm YouTube. So to me, I absorbed so much knowledge from working in my experience group and from the trainers. I felt comfortable going out there on my own. I didn't want to go with a trainer. And I think she felt some type of way about that, because anytime there was an issue, like I'm calling her because I know how to drive the truck. I semi know how to secure the loads. I just don't know your system yet. I'm still learning your system. I'm learning your tablet. I'm learning the app. So she would always make subtle remarks saying, well, if you would have went out with a trainer, this would have been explained to you. And I let it slide, because I'm like, yeah, that is true. If I'd have went with a trainer, I would know about your macros and everything. I know about macros because Swift used macros. Your macros were just that different. And as Swift, I could use my phone or my tablet. I didn't have to use either or. So it's just a difference. I'm coming to you with a concern, and if your title is driver leader or whatever, you're supposed to be a leader and help your team. I'm on your team. I'm on your fleet. So we bumped heads over me just asking her general questions about the tablet and the app. And her response was always, well, see, this is why you should have went out with a trainer. I kind of got tired of hearing that. So I'm like, okay, if I got an issue, I guess I got to just figure it out on my own. So their policy, 7 days out, 1 day of home time. And they want you to put it in like 2 weeks in advance. Then there's another policy on top of that policy. If you live in certain areas, you have to do 21 days in advance. And it's something on top of that. So and I don't know if they changed it because I hadn't looked on Milton since I left. But online, because I live in Texas, I'm only required to give 7 days notice when I want to take home time. And that's what it says. I don't live, my address is not on the West Coast. So when she sent me out to the West Coast, I had already knew I needed to be back. It was something important for my daughter. And I went ahead and gave the 2 weeks notice. I didn't do the 21 days notice because I didn't think I had to, because I don't, even though you sent me out to Washington, I don't live in Washington. I don't live on the West Coast. I live in the dark green area. I'm in Texas. I only have to give you technically a week notice. I gave you 2 weeks notice that I needed to be home. And she approved it. So I told her I needed to be, well, I didn't call her yet. I sent it through the macro. I figured it out because she wasn't going to tell me. So I figured out how to send the macro for home time. And I went back through my training and I looked at the video how to do it. And then I sent it to her and she approved it the next day. And remember this, I did this in 2 weeks in advance. So I'm out rolling. It's getting close to me needing to be home. And I know she gives me a assignment that sends me from Oregon to New York City. Yes, New York City. No, that was the second time. The first time she sent me from Oregon to West Virginia. And I'm like, it's no way that I can do this and make it back to Texas. So in my mind, I'm thinking, well, maybe she's gonna have me meet up and do a repower with another driver, because she had me do that before. Y'all saw that. I met up with a driver in Jackson, Tennessee. Y'all remember that? That's when I was on top of the load and I switched the tarps and all that stuff. Go back and watch the video. So that's what I thought was going on. So I didn't think nothing of it, and then it wound up getting to a day before, and I wound up calling, and I was like, hey, I don't want to say her name. I said, hey, I was supposed to be home. And she's like, oh, are you sure? And I'm like, oh, I'm sure. And she's like, well, did I approve it? I was like, yeah, you did. And I sent her the screenshot and everything. She said, oh, okay. And she's like, well, see, this is why you should have went through training. You should have gave me a 21-day advance notice about this. That was the first time. The second time was similar. She sent me to New York City. So at that point, I'm like, I'm not feeling trucking no more, and I'm just about to leave. Then I was thinking, I put my wife and my daughter through all this. I can't just leave. I said, at these other places, I noticed I never once tried to switch. Well, at Prime, I did try to switch my fleet manager. They just wouldn't let me do it. I was like, before I leave, because at that point, I was moving, I'm making money, my checks were good, I'm good. It was 2 times. It's 2 times too many for some. Well, with some people, 1 time. What I notice about drivers, pay us appropriately, get us home when we want to get home, as long as we following your parameters when you ask us to do it, and talk to us like a decent human being, and we cool. But when that pay is not right, and when you mess up our home time, that's when your company becomes a revolving door. And we can agree to disagree. If you talk to a driver crazy, and you mess up the driver's paycheck, and then you don't get the driver home for their home time after they done been out for a month, 2 months, 3 months, whenever, and they just want to go home or just take some time off, that driver's gonna leave. Well, I'm gonna leave. Most people will leave. yeah, so I talked to her manager. Remember I said it was 3 people. So it was her, then I talked to her manager. So she did it. So something else she did. She then he told me that it wasn't her being personal and spiteful to me. That's what they do to everybody. So it's like it was always an issue getting me home, and I had enough. I told my wife, hey, the next time I come home, I'm just gonna clean out the truck, and then I'm done, and I'll find something else. If I got to go back to cutting hair somewhere, so be it. I'm done with this trucking. That's exactly what I said. I'm done with this trucking shit. I'm done. I've tried it, and it just ain't working. It's not for me. So that's when I was like, you know what, now I know if people still doing it, I know that there is money to be made. I said, let me try to get another manager. So I was leaving Houston. She actually sent me to Laredo and said, well, I need you to go down. She sent me past my house. I made a delivery at a city outside of Dallas, and then she had me pick up at the same place, take it down to Laredo, and then I had to sit there for a couple of days to get a load to take me from Laredo to Denton. If you're familiar with Texas, all of these places are far in between from Dallas. It was Wills Point, y'all saw that one. It was Wills Point to Laredo. Laredo is pretty much by the border, almost by Mexico. I went from Laredo to Denton. Denton is also at the border, up by Oklahoma. She was doing little things to me. I think she was being vindictive towards me, because she know that I wanted to. I guess she wanted me to quit, but instead of quitting, I was gonna just switch off of her being underneath her on her fleet. So when I talked to her manager, so she cut off my fuel card. So you sent me from Laredo to Denton. You didn't give me a fuel plan. So when I tried to go get gas, I got the embarrassment, like when you go and your credit card or something, they say decline. It kept saying decline. Well, I tried on the app and it wouldn't go through. It said come see cashier. I tried it at the pump, come see cashier. I go in there and they were like, yeah, do you have any money on it? I'm like, it's a fleet card, so it should be. I mean, I know it's not unlimited, but I know it's a charge card. Long story short, so I wound up calling in, and they was like, oh yeah, the fleet manager turned off your fuel card. And they said, and I was like, why would she do that when she knew I went from Laredo to Denton and I needed some fuel? Oh, don't take it personal. Take it personal. She wasn't trying to do anything. We always do that. Anytime you go on home time, we cut off your fuel time. We cut off your fuel card when you go on home time. And I was like, okay, I understand that. Even though I'm not going to take the truck and just go all wild with the truck. But I wasn't on home time yet. I had a load. I needed to get fuel so I can get home. Oh, I'm going to turn it on, just get 50 gallons. That's all I'm allowed, and then make it home. And then he was like, I'll let you sit over the weekend and over your home time, and let me know if you want to, if you still want to go forward with getting a new driver manager. I said, oh, I don't have to sit. I said, after this, I definitely want a new driver manager. And see, he was like, okay, so I'll switch you, and I'll have your new driver manager contact you when you come back from your home time. And I was like, okay, cool. Talked it up to my wife, and she's like, all right. She's like, you sure you still want to do that? And I was like, yeah. I said, let me try it out, because I said at the other places, I didn't even give them an opportunity. I'm like, you screwed me over. I'm done. I'm out of here. I know my value. I know my worth. And I'm gone. Because if it was reversed, and well, I wouldn't even do a person like that, but if it was reversed, you wouldn't want me to do you like that. So it was the first driver manager at Milton, playing with my home time, turned off my fuel card on me, despite whatever her supervisor said. I know she did it. She didn't tell me, If she didn't throw in the extra, if you went with a trainer, you would have known that. She didn't throw that. She just cut off the fuel card on me, trying to have me stranded. So I get switched, and everything is going good. He's running me hard. We in the honeymoon phase, so everything's going good. He's running me hard. They do little different challenges at Milton, like MPG challenges. I know everybody does that, but they really do MPG challenges at Milton, and it allows you. Y'all wondering how I got on Milton shirts? So yeah, you do MPG challenges. You another one, the one that me and him bumped heads on was the early empties. So what that means is if whichever fleet has the most trucks get empty early, and then you're available for dispatch or whatever, you get set prize or whatever. The fleet manager, he would get a some type of reward picture or whatever, and then the fleet, we all benefit from it. So in order to get unloaded early, you have to call. You can't just show up at these places. Like if my appointment is Friday, and in my mind I'm thinking I can get there Wednesday. Yeah, you can just show up Wednesday, but 9 times out of 10, they probably it's other people that had appointments Wednesday, so they may work you in or they may not. So what I was doing, I was calling ahead, and I was like, hey, this is, I say my name, I have the load, and I was just checking to see if it was early empty and early loads. That's what the challenge was. So I would call to see if the load was ready, and then I would also call to see if they would be able to take me early. I wasn't rude. I said it just how I said it to y'all. So he noticed that I was getting to places early, and he noticed that I was getting unloaded early, and he was wondering what I was doing. And I told him, I said, oh, I was just calling the shipper or the receiver or shipper or co-signee, depending on what company you work for. And he was like, what? You're not supposed to do that. That's just how he said it. And that's when the honeymoon phase ended, because he raised his voice at me. And I'm like, come again? He's like, we don't ever call the shipper. We don't ever call the receiver. What you have on your tablet, that's what you go by. He said, and if they're able to take you early, then so be it, but you don't call them under no circumstance. He said it to me like that. I said, okay, well, I understand that, but most places you just can't show up a day early or whatever and expect them to work you in. And he's like, the other people on my fleet do it. I said, I'm not the other people. I'm just telling you, I'm not going to show up to a place early hoping that they're going to take me, and then they don't, and then I'm screwed trying to figure out, okay, where I'm going to park tonight. I said, because I trip plan, and if it was in my trip plan to get there at this date and this time, and then I get there earlier than that, I really didn't trip plan for, oh, well, if they don't take me, I got to do this. I'm like, that's just... So we went back and forth over it. I said, you know what? I don't want to go back and forth with you. Don't expect me to get loaded early, and don't expect me to arrive somewhere early. Whatever time you send me on that tablet, expect me to arrive at that date and that time. And he said, well, he was still talking, click, hung up, because what we won't do, it'd be disrespectful to me on my phone. Oh, and he didn't like that. So remember, it was the first lady, the supervisor, and then now, remember I said 3 people I wouldn't do anything for. My new fleet manager. Unbeknownst to me, I'm thinking the manager for both of these people, I mean, I didn't know the manager for both of them was the same guy. I thought once he took me off her fleet, I was going to go to someone else's fleet and I have a new manager. So this lady, I already know she's feeding the manager, oh, well, he doesn't really know what he's doing. Yeah, he can drive, he can secure, but he doesn't know the other stuff because he didn't want to go out with a trainer. And then now my new fleet manager is like, he's just difficult. he's violating our policy because he didn't go out with a trainer. He didn't know that we don't allow them to call, which is crazy because I've been to job sites. If I didn't call ahead to the job site, how would I know how to get there? That's crazy to me. So he started to put me on short hauls with a lot of work. He was working me. So Milton has a Texas Regional, which is fine if you're already at max pay and you're expected. So on Texas Regional, it's good for the guys that's already maxed out, and then you know you're going to be home on Friday and Saturday, or you're going to be home on Saturday and Sunday, and that's one thing that you are well, I won't even say it's a sacrifice. Well, in order for you to be home weekly, you're going to do a lot of work throughout the week. So he was working me like I was Texas Regional, even though I'm OTR. At Milton, I was making 58 cents per mile. So if you're only running me 200 miles, 300 miles, 400 miles, and you're doing this on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but then in between, if this is when I was getting through early, then you put me on something that's only like 100 miles, and it's fully tarp load. So he made sure everything he was putting me on was short, and it had to be fully tarped. And they have their way to play games with you to try to force you to quit. And my thing is, you ain't got to try hard with me, because once I realize that you're trying to play with me, I'm out. So I'm like, okay. So when I was with her, even though we had our differences, I was seeing 14. I think the biggest check I got was maybe $1,600. Because remember, I'm 58 cents per mile. But she was running me. That's one thing I can say about her. With her, I went east and west. She was running me. She ran me east and west. He was running me Texas, Illinois, back, Texas, Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, Texas, Kansas, Texas to Florida. Just short little hits. He wasn't sending me far. When I was with him, I never went back west. It was always something short and sweet. I never got a step deck with either one of them. I was always straight open deck, 53 foot. And I would tell him, he sent me to Florida twice. I said, I have the flatbed and my axles are fixed. I can't slide them. I said, in Florida, you're supposed to close your axle. That's a closed axle state. And he was like, oh, don't worry about it. You'll be okay. He said just like that. Instead of saying that, I think Milton pays an extra fee. You can get a permit to keep your axles open or whatever. The company has to pay for it. But you need to send that to the drivers in case I get pulled in. Thank God I got pulled into the weigh station, but I didn't get inspected, because I would have been on him like white on rice if I would have got a citation, because I didn't find out about this until later. But even though I'm telling him, hey, my trailer, I can't open and close my axles, but you send me into Florida. So he started doing little sneaky stuff like that, and I just had enough of it. And I was like, you know what? I ain't got to take this. I'm out of here. And I was about to be done. And then I met Justin. I don't know if that was God intervening. I don't even think I told my wife about that. I met Justin. Justin had Rolling Recruiter on his truck. And it's a red truck. That's all I'm going to say for now. And I was like, okay. He saw that I was unhappy, and he was like, we sparked the conversation, and he told me about the company that I'm at now. It's Flatbed, and he was like, trust me, you won't worry about sitting here, which I'm gonna show you. I got 6 minutes on my drive, on my 14 and my 70. The only time I sit at this company is when I'm on home time. Now this kind of scares me. I'm like, I don't like my clock getting this low, because anything can happen. If it was a traffic jam or somebody passed out and I'm stuck, I would be in a violation. So I don't like being ran like this, but I run over here. I've done, and you're gonna see all these videos. I've done over dimensional I've done high lows, wide lows, long lows. I didn't do none of that at Milton. At Milton, I was the lumber man. I did lumber. I was a lumberjack. I mainly did lumber. Y'all saw the lows I did. It was pretty much the same thing. I never did anything. I never had a step deck over there. They did train me on a step deck. They never. I don't think Milton has RGNs. We have RGNs here. So just, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. I got some good videos coming. But and I am gonna show you this clock. So talk to Justin, decide, okay, it's either gonna work or it's not, and then I'm done. That was it. I'm either gonna just walk away from trucking, or this will be my origin story where, okay, I went through this mess, now it's time to go owner operator. The only reason I'm not doing owner operator right now, to be honest, is the economy. And I know everybody says that, but I can't take that risk because my biggest collateral is my home. I will not lose my home over this. I just can't. I'm not willing to take that big of a gamble. So that's another reason I'm staying company right now, just trying to save up my money, because I know what truck I want. No, I will get my own truck and lease it on to a company. Remember, on my video, if you go back, I will go back to Swift, but as an owner operator. As promised. Remember, I said it was June the 3rd. Look at my clocks. 6 minutes. I stay moving over here. When I was at Milton, the guy was forcing me to do multiple 34-hour resets through a week. He'll be like, oh, I don't have nothing for you. Just do a reset. Be patient with me. Just be patient. We're gonna get you moving. At Milton, it was 2 times I did 2 resets in the same week, and that's when I left, guys. I just had enough. But yeah, you can see it. 6 minutes. That's the day I'm filming this in the time.